everyone, this is Caitlynn Moses with Keller Williams Market Pro Realty here in Northwest Arkansas. I'm super excited to talk with you today and introduce you to my good friend Rachelle Harris of the Harris team at our brokerage. And we're just kind of talking about what a life by design looks like for everyone and how it's different and how Rachelle has used real estate to really kind of reach her life by design. So we're really excited to introduce you, and without further ado, here's my good friend Rachelle. I don't know that I even got to explain to you this kind of what we're doing today. We're doing these videos with agents to really just talk about like what a life by design looks like for them in real estate. I think it's so important in this industry for people to realize that you don't have to be like the #1 producer. You don't have to be the biggest salesperson. Maybe your dream is to sell 1 house a year. Maybe your dream is to sell 300 houses a year and do $1 billion in business, but it looks different for everyone. And so we're interviewing all these different agents to see kind of what it looks like for you, like what's your life by design. So I appreciate you being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Okay, so my first question for you, Rachelle Harris of the Harris team. Why real estate? Like, what got you started?
Well, it's all about the life by design. Growing up, I was raised by a single mom who worked very hard for us, sacrificed a lot, and she did real estate for a little bit. And so I got to be with her when she was showing properties, and I was little. And so I would go to all the houses, and I would be with the families and get to see them kind of light up while they're looking at houses. And so always in the back of my mind, I'm like, that would be so much fun. She didn't do it for very long because real estate is not a steady income. And so when you're providing, all by yourself, sometimes that may not be the best fit. So, but just that little taste, I always thought that would be really fun. I did insurance prior to real estate, which was great, but I was kind of tired of that. And so I got an opportunity to do real estate, and here we are.
I love that. Okay, what's the absolute funniest thing that has ever happened to you in real estate? Like, what's your craziest, funniest real estate story?
Oh, I've got some good ones. I would say I had a buyer client that I met at an open house, and we're walking through a house, and we walked into the backyard, and she reached down and grabbed some, I thought, grass, and then put it in her mouth. And so I was like, okay, that was kind of weird.
You're like gonna just pretend that didn't happen.
We just kept walking through, and then we came into the house, and I was turning lights off as we were leaving, and she had her shoes off, and she was standing on the couch looking at a picture that was over the couch. And so I was just like, we ended up not working together. And another thing that was funny about this one, she wanted to sign some paperwork. So she said, can you meet me at Walmart? And I was like, yeah. So thought, we might do it in the car or whatever. So I get there, she's inside Walmart, and she's sitting behind the cashiers in the motorized, little carts. And that's where we signed paperwork, was in the motorized carts at Walmart. So it was unique. It was pretty funny though. Like, you never know what's going to happen.
You never like get an explanation about the grass eating? It's just she ate the grass.
I didn't want to make her feel weird. Like if that was, I didn't want to make her feel bad. So I just let it happen.
You just never know. So did you decide to do, what was the transition like from insurance to real estate? Were you just always thinking like, oh my God, were you just over insurance? Did you move and that's why you got into real estate? Like, what did that look like for you?
A little bit of all of that. So yes, so we were in Texas. I had an insurance agency that I was running pretty much by myself. And insurance, had to pretty much be at the office every day. I didn't get to get out as much as I would have liked to have. And it was very stressful. Sometimes I would, if people didn't pay their premiums, I would be laying in bed at night if there was a storm coming through, worried like, oh my goodness, please don't hit their house, or, So a little stress there. And just, I wanted a change of pace. So we sold the business, moved back to Arkansas, which is where I'm from, to be closer to my mom, to help her. And it was just a great transition period. And what's neat about insurance and real estate, they're both about relationships. And so I think that was kind of a natural move, going from insurance, building relationships, helping families, to ultimately doing the same thing a different way with real estate.
Yeah, I love that you say that, because I think when people hear about realtors, sometimes there's this impression that it's like it's all sales, and it is sales, but it's mostly like you're saying about relationships and building those. And especially, it's really interesting that you moved back to Arkansas and got into real estate. So in your very first year, what did that look like for you? Like, what's something you wish that you knew your first year in rebuilding those relationships in your home state and kind of getting your business off the ground that you wish you had? What do you know now that you wish that you knew then?
I think when I started, I was very low confidence in myself. So that I wish I would have believed in myself a little bit more. But I also learned through failure. And sometimes, one person may be able to go do an activity one time and they're good at it. I think I'm more of the person I got to do it 10 times. So it was kind of like I had to have more conversations than the average person, which I think it's okay to get out there, have those conversations, build the relationship, and the relationship is key, and follow-up is key. And I think if I would have known it's okay to follow up, you're not bothering people, that would have probably helped a little bit, help speed up progress, I guess you could say.
Yeah, and it's so funny to me that you say that you weren't confident in yourself, because knowing you now, how long have you been in real estate?
6.5 years.
Okay, so knowing you now, because you and I met, I guess it's been 4 years. So, but seeing you progress in your business, I would have never guessed that you weren't confident. So kind of what was the flip, or what was the switch that flipped for you that made you go okay, I can do this?
It's all about helping people. And so that's what I love. So I'm confident in that I know ultimately, no matter what, that's the end result, is that I want to help them. And it's not about sales, really.
Yeah.
That's kind of a nice little, cherry on top. But if that's your goal, it all works out. So I'm not sure if I answered that well.
Yeah, I think so. We always say, have you heard of John Maxwell? Of course you have. Tina. Tina loves John Maxwell. She always says that he says, if you help enough people, you'll never want for anything in your life. And I think that's what a lot of people kind of don't understand about real estate, because so many times it doesn't work out. We were just talking earlier about how something's not working out for you in your real estate business.
Yeah.
How do you kind of move past that? How do you dust yourself off and go, this is fine. I'm great. This is totally going to be fine. And just keep going.
Well, we hear it a lot. We've got some great leaders around us in our market center and experience. They've got a lot of experience, but it's all about focusing on what you can control, and trying not to focus on the things that you can't control. So there are some things that we can control. Sometimes a termination happens. I've got 2 terminations, that I'm dealing with right now.
Yeah.
And ultimately, it's what's best for the client should be our end result. And some houses aren't right for some buyers, and vice versa. Sellers, they might be upset when there's a termination, but we just got to walk through it and help them see that ultimately we're going to get you to the goal, getting the home sold. That's just not the right buyer.
Yeah. So you have 2 terminations right now. That's kind of a bummer.
Mm-hmm, it is.
How do you, and I keep going back to being a new agent, because I think this is such a high turnover career. So many people get in this business. I think it's 67% don't make it to year 3, and you're in year 6.5, almost year 7. So you've kind of beat the odds. So how have you made sure your pipeline stays intact to where those 2 terminations don't just derail your whole life? And so you're stressed out, you're trying to figure out what you're going to do next. What does your lead gen look like? Or how do you make sure that the business is still coming in?
It's all about consistency. And I'm not great at that. I'm still working on that, because I will see dips in my business. But it's kind of like when you let your foot off the gas, then you're going to see that in your business. You may not see it right away, but you're going to see it 2 or 3 months down the road. So if you just kind of get down to the basics, you're making those contacts every single day, you're not going to have a problem with your pipeline. And so we get so busy that we forget to do the contacts, do the easy things.
Yeah.
So that's it.
I think, that's so true, because you get to if you have 2 terminations, I imagine you're working several deals. And so you're dealing with all the nitty gritty, the paperwork, the stuff, and it's so easy to forget to be doing the lead gen on the side. But what does that look like for you specifically? Like, what are you doing for your lead gen activities?
So that's a great question. So when I first started, I didn't really have a sphere. And everybody was like, your sphere, work your sphere, which is your people that you know.
Yeah.
When we moved here, I didn't really have that. So I did for sale by owners. That was my favorite. I loved going in and meeting the people, and it was almost like a game for me of like, how do I know them? Who do they know that I know? And
like
so
the
it was
6 degrees of Kevin Bacon,
exactly.
But instead it's Rachelle Harris.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm telling you, every single time there was a connection.
Yeah.
But it was getting in there, and I didn't go in there like, I'm going to get this listing. I went in there more of like, how can I help them?
Right.
And probably, it might have been like 3 out of 10 appointments I would get to list because there would be some things happening that they, were struggling with. And so I just kept checking in with them, and eventually they'd call me like, okay, will you just list our house? So it was for sale by owners. Mm-hmm. Now it's kind of turned into referrals.
Okay.
From those for sale by owners. When I look at our business over the past year, it's been referrals or repeat business and past clients or friends telling other people about us. So it's kind of morphed a little bit.
I love that. And it's funny because when I first started, I don't know if you remember, at one of our award ceremonies, we gave you the FSBO Queen Award, because you are just so good about that. And I think, you have such a special power of like making people feel seen and comfortable. And so I know if you showed up to my door and you were like, how's this going? And I just feel so much for FSBOs, because we know what goes into listing and making sure your house is show ready and all the stuff that you have to do. And handling that when it's not what you do and you're doing like a full-time job can just be so stressful. So what was it that you kind of communicated to them that made them trust you or made you seem like somebody they would want to work with?
I always tried to genuinely help them. So, whether it was giving them a tip like, okay, you've got it on Zillow, but maybe change your pictures up a little bit or swap things out, or have you done an open house?
Yeah.
And try to give them some tips, like declutter a little bit. So I think it was coming from trying to give them value and just building that relationship from there.
I love that. One question I really wanted to ask you today is, and this is something I love to ask people because you never know what you're going to get, but what do you feel like your superpower is? Like what sets you apart from other realtors, other people in general, that just kind of makes you stand out?
That's a hard question because I feel like not all agents, but most agents probably have the same power. I guess you could say it. My heart. I genuinely want what's best for people.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, we may not make the commission that some people want to make on them or whatever. And so it's not, at the end of the day, it's not all about money. It's about helping them, whether it's selling a house because they want to go closer to family or selling a house because they need a bigger house or they need a smaller house. Just how can we get in there and help them?
Yeah.
So that's, it's genuinely wanting to help people.
I have to brag on you a bit because I don't think everybody has that superpower. And you should definitely shout that from the rooftops because you're awesome. And you can see your heart too as far as like the brokerage goes. One of the things that you do in our brokerage at Keller Williams is you're a member of the ALC. So the Associate Leadership Council, which but maybe not everybody does, is a group of agents that helps make decisions for the other agents and helps us run the brokerage. And you've been on this latest time 2 years, but you were on previously. How has that experience been for you, and what kind of calls for you to serve?
I love seeing the heart of Keller Williams. And I want every agent in our office to experience that. I think it's powerful that we get to be a part of that, of what sets our brokerage apart from other brokerages. And so just being a part of that, seeing kind of the behind the scenes, and wanting to share that with everybody else. Our brokerage genuinely wants to help people. And I think, that's kind of through and through me, like what I feel, like a better words there. And so I want all the agents to experience that.
I love that. I do too.
Yeah.
That's my favorite thing. What do you wish that agents knew about the ALC? Because we talk about it a lot in our meetings. It feels like one of those things that's, you're right, it totally sets us apart. It's unique to Keller Williams. Not everybody does it. I kind of joke, it's like your board or your House of Representatives, so you get a say in what goes on, but even our own agents don't necessarily know about the ALC. So what's something that you wish that they knew to help them kind of get involved and really see the power behind Keller Williams and how it can help them?
I think it's being around other agents who are, maybe in a different place in their business than, or maybe where you want to be, but just being able to be around those other agents and we can talk through things, share experiences. Every time we get together, I feel like we're sharing something that's happening in our business. Yeah. And then every other agent is like, oh, have you done this or have you done that? So that's a little piece of it, but then also getting to have a say in what our office is doing and how can we bring more value to our agents and how can we help them?
I think that's a really powerful statement, especially because I feel like since COVID, a lot of agents have not really returned to the office, which is okay. We're all living our lives. You're used to your home office. It's set up. You're ready to just do your stuff from wherever you are. And that makes sense, especially in this career because it's so transient, I guess would be a good word for it. But, being in the office and getting to discuss those things, have you seen that online where it's like nobody has a unique experience?
Yeah.
So if you're dealing with something stressful like those 2 terminations, if you go in and you talk to somebody about it, I guarantee there's like 15 people around
yes,
who will give you good advice.
Yeah.
I love that.
There's an energy too in our office. So if I'm at home, my energy may be kind of low, but when I go to the office, there could be just 2 or 3 people in the office, but my energy is automatically lifted. And so it's contagious.
We're people.
That's right.
I don't think we'd be in real estate if we weren't people for sure. It is funny when you meet those realtors too who are like introverts and you're looking at them going, how, okay.
I am actually an introvert.
I don't think so.
I think I am. Maybe I'm an extrovert introvert. I don't know.
Eric used to always say he was a learned extrovert. He's like, no, I'm really an introvert, but I have to be an extrovert to be this, in this career. But I don't think so. I don't know. We'll find out another time. But okay, the last thing I wanted to ask you is if everything in your life goes perfectly right, because we know that's totally going to happen. Everything goes according to plan all the time for me. So obviously that happens for you too. But if everything goes perfectly in your life and in your career, what does your life look like 5-10 years from now?
So, of course, we would love to be debt-free, a little more financial freedom. My goal is that my kids are getting older. We may have some marriages in the future, within 5 years.
Yeah.
There may be grandkids, and I want to be able to spend time with them. So, ideally, being able to go on the vacations and just be with my family and still have a career that's providing. And also have a big goal that we want to be able to give X amount of dollars each month to somebody in need, whether it's a person or it's an organization. But I know that my family has received so much from, various people or whatever, and I just want to be able to give back. Yeah. So
I love that. It's all about life by design. And again, that's kind of why we're doing this, because it looks different for everybody's big why is different. And I love that your big why really kind of ties back to your business. You love helping. You have a big heart for people, even as far as like the brokerage goes. And I love that that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
So perfect. Well, thank you for doing this today.
Thank you for having me.
So good. And I'm really going to dig into that extrovert thing because I think you've got that wrong.
We'll see.
We'll see. We'll see. But thanks so much, Rachelle.
Yeah, thank you.
Anything you want to say before we finish about you or your business, or give yourself like a plug?
Gosh, I don't know. I don't know.
I'll do it. If you're a FSBO and you don't want to sell your house because it's a real bummer to do that by yourself.
And there could be legal things that happen. Let us help you with that. Let us help you navigate those times.
FSBO queen.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Rachelle.